Happy Tuesday, North Central Washington. Happy Tuesday, Wenatchee Valley. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for this 8th day of January 2019. I'm Dan Kuntz, your host, and if you're just joining us, Clemson just scored again. It's now 51-16, Clemson over Alabama. We'll talk about the college football championship when we get to sports. Big show for you today. Lots of things going on. My guest in the second half of the program, Jessica Johnson, the executive director of SAGE. She came by yesterday morning to tape our conversation portion of this program. And yes, she brought Hank along with her. In fact, here's my little mini Hank right here that I get to keep. I'm a big fan of Hank. So Jessica Johnson from SAGE will be here in the back half of the hour. We have a winter weather advisory. We are going to get snow, biggest snowfall of the year so far in the Wenatchee Valley. Now we need to take things in perspective. We haven't really had much of a winter this year. A couple of skiffs of snow here and there, nothing really big. We had some slick conditions last week with some freezing rain, but we haven't really had a real wintry mix of weather since winter started, really. That's going to change today. We have a winter weather advisory. It starts at 9 o'clock this morning and goes until noon on Wednesday. We'll have complete weather details coming up, but we're going to get anywhere from at least 2 inches of snow in the Wenatchee Valley, starting at about 10 o'clock this morning until about 10 o'clock tonight. Anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of snow is expected in the Wenatchee Valley. We're kind of hedging our bets, but at least 2 inches of snow, which is going to make things slick enough as it is, but we could get upwards of 4 or even 5 inches of snow here on the valley floor by the time this rather active and wet storm system passes our way. You can kind of feel it. I went outside about 10-12 minutes ago just to get an idea of what we're dealing with here. Overcast skies, it's blustery, it's chilly, it's 28 degrees, but you can kind of feel that there is a storm system heading our way. We'll talk about that. We'll also take you up to the major mountain passes. We have your latest headlines, including 4 new police officers, a part of the thin blue line that is the Wenatchee Police Department. We'll talk about that when we get to news. As I mentioned before, sports, pretty light sports calendar today, but we do have wrestling tonight right here live on the NCW Life Channel. The Davis Pirates will come up from Yakima, the gateway to Wapato, to take on the Eastmont Wildcats at the Eastmont Gymnasium. So we'll have grappling tonight. Buell Hawkins on the call here on the NCW Life Channel. So tune in for high school wrestling tonight. We also have the obscure holiday today in history, birthdays, and everyone is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. It's going to be a busy hour, an adult portion of this program, so buckle your seatbelts. Let's make it happen. Let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras, courtesy of Localtel's Sky-Fi high-speed wireless, the roof of the Cascadian pointing north. So Wenatchee Avenue is on your right. Mission Street on your left as the traffic begins to pick up and get going. As I mentioned before, we are going to get some snow. It's supposed to start about 10 o'clock this morning. At times it could be a little mixed precipitation. Most of the freezing rain that they're expecting is actually going to be down in the Yakima area and out in the Columbia Basin. So Moses Lake, Ephrata, you could have a freezing rain mix. You're not expecting a lot of snow out there. We are. But it could be in the form of freezing rain out in the basin, which is actually worse than snow if you think about it. Camera 2, according to Megan, who is in control, says, let's go see Jump Off Ridge. What a spectacular view that is. Of course, we're still a ways from sunrise. Sunrise isn't for another good half hour, if not longer than that. So those cameras that we talked about before, they're designed, these lenses are designed to let in as much light as possible so you can see as much detail as possible from the roof, from the top of Jump Off Ridge, the Stimmill Basin. To your left, can't quite make out Malaga, still a little too dark there. So good morning, Wenatchee Valley. That is an incredible view, is it not? Camera 3, where are we going, Megan? We're going to there. Is that, what is that, Monitor? Cashmere? What are we looking at, Megan? That's the Rock Island camera. See, I was a nice guess there, Dan. So that big black area at the very bottom of your screen is the Rock Island Golf Course. That's why there's no lights there. But the beautiful hamlet of Rock Island. In fact, you can even see on the far left of your screen that little blinky thing right behind. You see that sign that says provided by Sky-Fi, and you see that thing that's blinking right below it? That's our Jump Off Ridge camera that we just showed you. And finally, camera number 4 is a view of Turtle Rock. Well, that's the Arundel Rock camera pointing south towards Turtle Rock, with Wenatchee Valley being obscured by Turtle Rock with the high clouds coming in. As I mentioned, it feels like there's going to be some snow. It's just one of those things that You can feel it in the air. We do have a winter weather advisory. In fact, let's go ahead and make that transition at 5 minutes after the hour. Let's take a look at your weather forecast from the National Weather Service. The National Weather Service is one of those necessary governmental entities that has to stay open, and they have to work even though the government is shut down in many departments. The National Weather Service is one of them, but they have to work without getting paid. That stinks. So winter weather advisory goes from 9 o'clock this morning until noon on Wednesday. The timeline for the snow is 10 o'clock this morning till 10 o'clock tonight. So we are going to get some snow. It's supposed to start around 10 o'clock. By the time the sun goes down, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of snow will be on the ground. And then an additional couple of inches of snow is possible overnight tonight. So when this is all said and done, and the system rolls out tomorrow afternoon, anywhere from 2 inches to 5 inches of snow is expected here on the valley floor. So 1, 2, or maybe even 3 inches possible today, 1 to 2 inches tonight. And then tomorrow, a rain-snow mix in the morning. It switches over to rain and snow, and then just plain rain by Wednesday afternoon. So we'll have some significant snow melt on Wednesday. And then it's going to rain a little bit on Wednesday night, we're told, with a couple of snowflakes here and there, 34 for the overnight low. Pretty quiet on Thursday. Slight chance of some morning snow. That's it. High of about 43 on Thursday. And then a pretty quiet weekend with some sunshine expected a little bit on Saturday with a high of 39 degrees. By the way, yesterday's high was 43. Once again, about 10 degrees above normal. It has been a very mild winter, but that's going to change big time today. Again, we're looking at anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of snow in the Wenatchee Valley from 10 o'clock this morning to about 10 o'clock tonight. The winter weather advisory goes from 9 o'clock this morning till noon on Wednesday. So that's your forecast. I want to take you to a couple of slides provided to us from the National Weather Service. One of them will show you a satellite image of what we're looking at, what's aimed right at us. There you go. That's the water vapor satellite imagery. And that low pressure ridge that you see that's coming into the area is very tightly packed. Normally, they're not that small, but although it's not very big size-wise, it's very tight and it's spinning more rapidly than they normally would be. And that's why we're having the snow. And I have another graphic to show you the snow amount. So take a look at where you live, and that's how much snow we're expecting. Again, not a lot out in the Columbia Basin. Down in Yakima now, you're gonna get some snow and some freezing rain, a mixture of both. That's about as bad as it gets. Out in the Columbia Basin, very little snow is expected, but you could get some freezing rain in the Moses Lake, Ritzville, Quincy, Ephrata area. So I want to keep you abreast of that situation. Let's take you up to the mountain passes. Things aren't looking too bad right now. The problem with I-90 isn't the roadway necessarily. The roadway is fine. There are no advisories or restrictions. The problem is the wind is blowing the snow. Whatever snow is out there is being blown around. It's quite windy at the summit of Snoqualmie Pass. The roadway is mostly bare and wet with no advisories or restrictions, but you got strong gusty winds and blowing snow at the summit of I-90. Now there is a traction tire advisory on Stevens. Let's take a live shot at US 2. There you go. Traction tires are advised. They're not snowing, nothing coming down out of the sky. The roadway is mostly bare and wet with some slush and ice in places, but the roadway is dicey enough that they have a traction tire advisory. And we go to Blewett. No advisories, no restrictions. Live shot of US 97. The roadway is mostly bare and wet. You'll have some scattered clouds up above. No advisories, no restrictions. Couple of inches of snow, upwards of 4 inches of snow expected in the mountain passes today. They could even see a freezing rain, snow kind of a mix. That's your forecast for the Cascades today. Outside of that, 2 to 4 inches of snow today, 1 to 3 inches tonight, 1 to 3 inches Wednesday, 2 to 4 inches Wednesday night, a couple of inches on Thursday. So they're going to have some snow, not a significant snow amount, but just enough to make your mountain driving a little on the treacherous side. So right now, just Stevens Pass has a traction tire advisory. No advisories on I-90 or on Blewett at this hour. It is 9 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a break. When we come back, your Tuesday morning news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 44 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Live channel.
Hello, Wenatchee Valley. Christian Shanlin here with Bay Equity Home Loans.
Let us make your dream of home ownership a reality. We're here to guide you through the loan process every step of the way. Check out our convenient online application. Bay Equity Home Loans in Wenatchee, your home for loans.
Stop on by or give us a call today.
Everything we do is about delivering very high quality care and keeping our patients safe.
We really work as a team here, and so that's really what makes it worthwhile.
I give 100% every day, and I do that because I work for a company that I believe gives 100% back to me.
The bottom line is we genuinely care about our employees.
It is the most incredible place to work, and you will be inspired every day.
Welcome back to this edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Overcast and 28 degrees outside of our studios, also a little breezy. If you're just joining us, we have a winter weather advisory from 9 o'clock this morning till noon on Wednesday. As far as snowfall is concerned, from 10 o'clock this morning till 10 o'clock this evening, that 12-hour period today, we're expecting anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of snow here in the Wenatchee Valley. Other locations will get more. Here's what's making headlines on this Tuesday. The Wenatchee Police Department has welcomed 4 new officers. There's a nice photo. Police Chief Steve Crown doing the honors of swearing in the rookies at a ceremony that was held Friday at the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. From left to right, you see Chief Crown, officers Zach Deseri, Josh Pierce, Reed Klein, and Riley Cook. All 4 have long-term connections to the Wenatchee Valley, graduating from either Wenatchee, Eastmont, or Kashmir. All 4 are headed to the field training process. That's where they're going to be partnered with a training officer for roughly 14 weeks each. After that, they will be assigned to a patrol shift and they'll work independently. All in all, the process from hiring to working solo takes roughly 9 months and includes over 1,300 hours of training. By the way, if you're interested in law enforcement, you can go to publicsafetytesting.com and take a look at the testing process. Speaking of law enforcement, Wenatchee, a Chelan County Sheriff's Office canine, will be receiving a bulletproof and stab protective vest thanks to the nonprofit group Vested Interest Canine. The vest will be embroidered with the words in memory of Canine Laszlo, Spokane, Washington Sheriff's Office. Laszlo died in October after retiring with over 500 apprehensions. Wenatchee is a mix of Dutch and German Shepherd. Joined the Chelan County Sheriff's Office back in March after being purchased from a Tundra canine in Alaska. Well, 2 Moses Lake men arrested and a stolen pistol recovered during a traffic stop. This happened on Sunday afternoon. A Grant County deputy saw a car fail to signal for a turn at Loring Drive Northeast and Patton Boulevard Northeast around 12:30 in the afternoon. The deputy followed the car north on Patton, finally stopped the car on Westover Boulevard. A record check on the driver, 19-year-old Edward N. Villarreal, showed that he was wanted for failing to comply on a previous domestic violence malicious mischief charge. As he was taken into custody for the warrant, Villarreal told deputies he had a gun in his waistband for which he did not have a concealed pistol license. The passenger in his car, 20-year-old Cyrus Knoll, was found to be carrying a stolen pistol tucked into his waistband as well. That gun was reported stolen out of Moses Lake. Knoll also had a spring-loaded knife and marijuana in his possession. Knoll taken to the Grant County Jail for investigation of possession of a stolen firearm. Villarreal lodged in the jail for misdemeanor domestic violence warrant and investigation of the gun violation. So, got yourself a new TV for Christmas, right? What do you do with the old one? Well, if you've dropped off any donations at the South Mission Street Goodwill store in Wenatchee, you saw a whole bunch of old TV sets piled up against the building. Goodwill spokesman Joey Edmister says the televisions are being collected as part of the organization's electronic waste recycling program.
Obviously, those big, huge TVs are not really in high demand anymore, but there's, thousands of them that are still circulating through our area here. So we do accept those. But ultimately, with them, generally, if they're, like the newer flat screen TVs, we'll check and see if they're actually working or not. And if they are, then we can go ahead and, put those back out onto the sales floor and see if anybody else would like to purchase them. But generally, they're the old big ones. And so, so we established this, e-waste program, and we work with other people in the community, and we will actually take the wires off of those and recycle the wiring. But there's a lot of the stuff that are inside the TV that we don't really, have the capabilities of, recycling those properly. So we will actually give those TVs to other companies, and then they will do with whatever they need to do them, basically to recycle them safely.
Goodwill's e-waste program also accepts old computers and monitors. He said they collected over 42,200 pounds of electronics just in Wenatchee alone, and statewide, over 792,000 pounds of used electronic equipment. And that's what's making headlines on this Tuesday morning, 15 minutes after the hour. Once again, we got some snow heading our way, 2 inches at least, maybe upwards of 5 inches of snow expected to come down here in the Wenatchee Valley between 10 o'clock this morning and 10 o'clock tonight. Be forewarned. And don't forget about the news with Grant Olson. Will come your way at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. 5, 6, and 10, your 3 chances to check out the evening news with Grant Olson in the anchor chair. I'll be handling sports this week for the vacationing Eric Grandstrom. So the news with Grant at 5, 6, and 10. You can also watch it on demand on our website at ncwlife.com. We'll have it up and running late in the afternoon. You can also go to our Facebook page if you so desire. And our website and our Facebook page are 2 of the many ways you can get a hold of us. Take a look at the bottom of your screen. Want to get a hold of us? That's how you do it. You can go to our Facebook page and private message us. You can go to our website, click on the Contact Us link, and we'll get it. You can send us an email, news@ncwlife.com, whatever it takes for you to get a hold of us. We love to hear from you. 16 minutes after the hour, we're going to take a break. When we come back, sports, the obscure holiday. Today in history, birthdays, everyone is entitled to Mike McNulty's opinion. And my conversation with Jessica Johnson and Hank from Sage. Coming up, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
What's your auto mocha emergency?
It's a Frappuccino mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate for pita.
Definitely the espresso shakes.
My favorite is the mocha for pitas.
A peach Red Bull.
Welcome back. Just about 18 minutes after the hour. I'm Dan Kuntz. Let's take a look at sports. The Clemson Tigers are the champions of the college football world. Trevor Lawrence, just a freshman, passed for 347 yards and 3 touchdowns. The second-ranked Clemson Tigers beating number 1 Alabama 44-16 last night. College football playoff national championship game. In the 4th consecutive playoff meeting between the Tigers and the Tide, Clemson evens the series now, and they beat Bama for the national championship for the second time in 3 years. Clemson becomes the first college football team to finish 15-0 since the 1800s. They're also the first team since the playoffs started 5 seasons ago to go all the way through a season undefeated. Congratulations to Clemson. The college football season is now over. Let's take a look at the prep schedule for today. Our cameras, we're going to be at the Eastmont High School Gymnasium tonight for wrestling. The Wildcats hosting the Davis Pirates. Bill Hawkins will be Matt's side with the call, 7 o'clock tonight on the NCW Life channel. By the way, the Wenatchee Panthers will travel to Moses Lake to take on the Chiefs, also at 7. In boys swimming and diving, the Eastmont Wildcats will host their rivals, the Wenatchee Panthers, this afternoon at 4. By the way, both teams undefeated so far in league this year. Eastmont lanes will be hopping this afternoon. Both Eastmont and Wenatchee bowl simultaneously. The Wildcats will be taking on West Valley. The Panthers hope to stay in first place in the Big 9 as they take on Moses Lake. And both of those matches start at 2 o'clock. Just one basketball doubleheader on the docket today in Caribou Trail League action. Chelan travels down to Leavenworth to take on the Kodiaks. The girls tip off at 5:15. The boys game to follow. And a friendly reminder, hey, the Mariner Caravan are coming back to town. That's right. Write this down. Tuesday, January 15th, 4 o'clock at the Pybus Public Market. And among the Mariners who are coming, of course, the Mariner Moose is coming. Broadcaster Dave Sims is coming. But Marco Gonzalez, the former Wenatchee Apple Sock, will be coming back to Wenatchee again Tuesday, January 15th. The Mariner Caravan in town at the Pybus Public Market 1 week from today. And those are just some of the games that people are playing at 20 minutes after the hour. It's time for the obscure holiday, and today is Clean Off Your Desk Day. That's not my desk, but it's pretty close. It's an unofficial holiday, of course. You really should have a clutter-free, clean, and organized workspace. I do my best. I oftentimes fail. Scientists agree and productivity experts agree that a functional workspace is important to be, to be good at what you do. I suppose if you work at a desk, you should organize it and clean it every once in a while. So today's the day to finally just tackle that chore and clean and organize your desk. You got stuff piled there that you don't need anymore. Shred all that sensitive paperwork, and by the way, clean off your desktop too, if you so desire. It's not, your PC desktop. So clean off your desk today. That's not my desk, but it's pretty close. I'll try and. Whose desk is that, Megan? Oh, that is. You know what? That is Brenda's desk, isn't it? Good call there, 3M. Let's do today in history. Article 2, Section 3 of the United States Constitution says, and I quote, "He shall, from time to time, give to Congress information of the state of the Union and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient." And the very first State of the Union address was delivered by George Washington in New York City on January 8th, 1790, 229 years ago. He spoke it out loud as a speech. John Adams did the same, but then Thomas Jefferson, who was a terrible speechwriter, decided to submit his State of the Union address in writing, and that's how they did it, until Woodrow Wilson brought back the tradition of actually going before a joint session of Congress and delivering the State of the Union orally. Fun facts about the State of the Union. Every member of Congress can bring one guest to the State of the Union. The President can invite 24 guests to the State of the Union. The Speaker of the House can invite 24 guests to the Union. Seating in the House chamber is on a first-come, first-served basis, no reservations. However, the Cabinet, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Supreme Court Justices, and the members of the Diplomatic Corps, they get reserved seating because they're important. The very first State of the Union address was delivered 229 years ago today by George Washington. Well, the War of 1812 was over. They had signed the Treaty of Ghent on Christmas Eve of the year before, but nobody bothered to tell Andy Jackson that. Information traveled a lot slower back in 1815, and on January 8th, 1815, 204 years ago, the Battle of New Orleans. Andrew Jackson led American forces to victory over the British in a war that was officially over. Oh well, one last little jab, I suppose. The famous Battle of New Orleans happened on this day 204 years ago today. And January 8th, 1835, 184 years ago today, the United States national debt was zero for the only time. No national debt on this date in 1835. And in the 184 years since then, we've been spending more money than we've been taking in. In fact, I looked at it this morning. Our national debt as of this morning, $20,492,598,761,860.61. No comment necessary. Let's do some birthdays, shall we? At 23 minutes after the hour, the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, one of the most significant cultural artists of the entire 20th century. The man was absolutely an icon, the king of rock and roll. Elvis Presley was born in this state in Tupelo, Mississippi in 1935, died way too young at the age of 42 in 1977. The king of rock and roll was born in this state. Let's see, that would make him, boy, if Elvis was alive today, he would be, what, 79? Wow. Stephen Hawking. We lost Stephen Hawking just about a year ago, the famous physicist and author. There's Stephen Hawking. He was born in the state in 1942. A lot smarter than I am. I don't know anything about quantum mechanics or cosmology or anything like that. Just trust me, he knew what he was talking about. Stephen Hawking, born in the state in 1942, who passed away March of last year at the age of 76. David Bowie, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. We miss this guy. He was born on the same day as Elvis Presley, just 12 years later. David Bowie, born in the state in 1947, passed away suddenly in 2016 at the age of 69, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and on merit back in 1996, David Bowie. And Kim Jong-un, the supreme leader of North Korea, celebrates a birthday today. We think he's got 4 different birthdays. It depends on who you talk to. The North Koreans say he was born on January 8th, 1982. The South Koreans say he was born on January 8th, 1983. According to the Americans, he was born January 8th, 1984. And he went to school in Switzerland, and according to the records there where he went to school, he was actually born on July 5th, 1984, which would make him 34. I don't know. It's his birthday. Stay away from the button, will you, Kim? 25 minutes after the hour, going to take a break. When we come back, everybody's entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. And then my conversation with Jessica Johnson and Hank the dog from Sage. Coming up, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Walkabout Grill, open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner in downtown Wenatchee and now downtown Leavenworth, where eating out is eating healthy.
Put winter weather in its place with a new Cub Cadet snow thrower from Rose Tractor. Hi, this is Corey. Let us help you get through the season with our line of Cub Cadet snow throwers. When it comes to snow, never let winter weather get in your way. The Cub Cadet X Series line of snow throwers offers 3 levels of snow clearing power and a host of award-winning models. Get ahead of the snow. Let us help you get into the right snow thrower for the job. Rose Tractor, family owned and operated, located at the corner of 3rd and Rock Island Road in East Wenatchee.
Hi, I'm Kevin Prosser and this is my print shop, Color Effects in Cashmere. Color Effects offers screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing on t-shirts, jerseys, bags, banners, signs, and more. With 30 years experience, you won't be disappointed with the quality and quick turnaround times you will get at more than a fair price. Please call Color FX.
Antique Mall at Cashmere wishes you a happy and prosperous new year. With 15,000 square feet to explore, Antique Mall at Cashmere has something for everyone. For repurposing projects, do-it-yourselfers, and those with a keen eye for making something old fresh and new again, this is the place to find your next project. Antique Mall at Cashmere, their friendly staff is here to help you. Stop on by today.
Welcome to another edition of Harrod's Cookhouse Field to Table.
Outdoorsmen have been providing fresh food for American family tables for generations. Hunting and fishing is a way of life for our family, and we enjoy cooking delicious fish and game meals.
Oh, that's awesome.
We want to share our recipes with you. This is Harrod's Cookhouse Field to Table.
Watch for new episodes of Harrod's Cookhouse Field to Table, starting Saturday, June 30th on the NCW Live channel.
Since 1932, Camp Seneca, nestled on the beautiful shores of Lake Wenatchee, has provided children grades 1 through 12 with the ideal location for kids to learn new skills, have fun, and make friends while creating memories that will last a lifetime. Camp Seneca's rustic log cabins and their staff serve to provide each group a unique summer camp experience. Register for Camp Seneca today, www.campfirencw.org.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, there's a lot of argument these days about capitalism and whether or not some people have too much money. Well, honestly, I have to agree. I think some people do have too much money, but also, honestly, who's to say who has too much and what too much is? You, me? Now, one truth is, to many people in third world countries, the average American, you and me, for example, we have too much money. We have more than enough food, little concerns about personal safety, and the lifestyle of most of us exceeds that of millionaires 100 years ago. So again, what's too much and who gets to say? Something to consider. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
If you're stuck trying to find the perfect beer for you, look no further than Badger Mountain Brewing. We specialize in creating tantalizing craft beers that will soothe any picky taste buds and will satisfy your cravings. Check out everything from our amazing honey blonde that will appease even the most finicky taster, or a delicious frothy stout for dark beer lovers. Experience them all at Badger Mountain Brewing.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
Können Sie mir das Problem sagen? Meinen Zylinder überschwimmt. Flute, ich habe mein Fugen verloren. Keine Sorge.
Global Car Care. We speak your car's language.
Fragenschlussen. Hey, you.
Well, I got a leaky transmission, my head gasket's shot, and I could use some new brake pads.
That dog don't hunt.
Global Car Care. We speak your car or truck's language.
And welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. My guest this morning is no stranger to this program. She's been on any number of times to talk about the difficult but oftentimes rewarding work that SAGE does, safety advocacy, I can never say that word correct, growth and empowerment. She's the executive director. You know her. Her name is Jessica Johnson. And yes, once again, she has brought with her Hank, who's right down here. There he is. Say hi, Hank. There he is.
Hank.
There's the hanker.
Hi. He's like, I will work for food. So.
And because by the time this airs, Hank's going to have himself a birthday.
Yes.
Number 2.
Yes.
Yes.
It was Saturday.
Saturday.
So January 5th, which is odd because we don't usually know. Like, I have no clue what our other pets' birthdays are. But Hank is very much, they know everything about Hank. So.
Right. What did you do for his second birthday?
Well, he did have a little treat. So he got a new toy, and we took some pictures. My husband made fun because I had a hat on him, but you know, he has to keep up with his Facebook followers and everybody on SAGE. So he is 2 now and doing well, and yeah, he's a good boy. So
let's go ahead and do it. For those of you who don't know, Hank's been on the show before. Hank serves a specific purpose in the world of SAGE, and explain for our viewers one more time what that is.
Sure. Hank is a court facility dog, so courthouse facility dog. He actually lives with me, and he goes to work every morning with me, and we do meet and greets out in the lobby with kids. We do forensic interviews with kids, which is hard, but during those forensic interviews, Hank can come in if the child wants, and he'll get up, and he has a special command called Snuggle, and he will do that, and that way the kids are able to go ahead and talk to Hank and talk to me usually, and tell their story, which is really hard, but Hank does a really good job. His job is just to snuggle in and sleep, and we do that. So we've seen an uptake in those interviews, not just because of Hank. Hank in himself is great, and he makes our job so much easier, but he also I just think that we're busier. So last year, for the whole fiscal year, we did 62 interviews. We're almost to 50 just from July.
Okay, so your fiscal year is July to June?
Yes.
That's an alarming figure.
Yes.
So. But Hank so far is paying his weight, and is it working in when the kids come down and they have to talk about this incredibly difficult period going through their lives and things to that effect? Is Hank, can you tell that Hank is actually being effective? You might maybe getting a little bit more out of the kid without Hank?
Yes. Well, in my experience as a forensic interviewer, I've only ever had Hank, but I can see where the kids kind of forget that Hank's there, but he's so soft, and he just snuggles right in that they have something to do with their hands because they're petting him. And so I think that helps the child a lot more to be able to just tell the difficult stuff that they need to talk about. But he also goes and does regular advocacy. I have adults that come in and see him. We have, we go to court. We participate in like defense interviews with adults and children, and then of course we're in the courtroom when needed. So might not be me always in the courtroom because they like to call me as an expert witness, but Stacy and Hank will be there. So it's a really good thing, and he's been used a lot, and I just see great things happening. So we're so thankful that Northwest Assistance Dogs, or Assistance Dogs of the Northwest actually, placed him with us, and he's been great.
As you can see on camera, Hank has his blue vest on, and that means Hank is working. And that he has a different mindset and a different way of going about his business when he has the blue vest on.
That's right. He knows that he's working. And right now he's just going to relax, so that's okay. That's a good thing. But when he's working, he's pretty mellow. And actually, the way that they choose the dogs for which jobs they get selected for is often by their demeanor. So courthouse facility dogs need to be pretty mellow. They need to not draw attention to them. In fact, when he goes to court, they bring the child and Hank in first, settle them in the witness box, and then they bring the jury in. And then after testimony's done, they have the jury go out, and then the kid and Hank comes out too. Try to be as unobtrusive as possible. And so the first trial that we had, he did a really good job, and I don't even know that the jury knew that he was there, because it's his job just to curl up and be at the kiddo's feet. And he, who wouldn't like to be paid to nap on the job? I mean, like, that's a hard thing right now. So
I asked you this off camera, and I'll ask you again now. Hank has the vest on, which means he's working. When he's just Hank the dog without the vest on, and his playtime and just being a dog time, what's his personality like?
Oh, he's got a great personality. He loves to be petted. He loves belly rubs. He loves to play. We have a couple of dog friends that I told you that we go and play and have play dates with. We also have an older lab at home that he's kind of put a little pep in her step too. So they play, they roughhouse, not too much, but they play. He is not so sure about cats. We have two cats at home. One ignores him, and the other, for whatever reason, has decided that she needs to pick on Hank, and he just kind of ignores her. He doesn't make any moves towards her, but he's a really good boy. My husband and I tease about that. He's probably not the best watchdog. When we went to Hank's graduation, we took him. He spent the night in the hotel and everything, and I was walking him, and it was rainy, it was dark, and we walked past a statue on our way down to do whatever he needed to do, but on our way back he saw it, and he barked, and then we picked up the pace. So it's like he was like, we don't need to be here, Mom, let's go. So
Hank's graduation, explain that real quick.
So Hank has been with us officially for 6 months. That was the waiting period, or the trial period, if you will. And so we did 3 or 4 tests during that time where he went through his skills, everything from heel to snuggle to visit to hurry. I mean, they have a command for pretty much everything. And so they came out and did a couple of visits with us also. He completed all his training, and so we officially graduated on December 16th from the program.
Well, congratulations, Hank.
Yeah, so we're pretty excited about that. And we have a beautiful watercolor picture that somebody painted for us to commemorate that in our office. So if you come into our office, you will see Hanks everywhere. So he's
including
a good
this?
boy. Yes.
Yeah, you brought me a little trouble. We'll talk about this in just a little bit.
Yeah.
You mentioned Hank has all these commands that he responds to when he's got the vest on and he's working. Is it just your commands, Jessica's voice and Jessica's inflection that he understands? Or if I gave him commands when he's working, he would follow me?
Mainly they're just mine.
Okay.
He sits like the normal commands that we have for sit, heel, those kinds of things. My family can give to him, people at work can give to him, but his special commands. I have a second handler who was trained also. Her name is Stacy, and so if I am not available, then Stacy's available, and so we go off, trade back and forth, but usually it's just our commands that he responds to. And that's the way it needs to be, because we don't want anybody coming up and telling him to do these special commands, because we want him to enjoy working, and who wouldn't enjoy having a snuggle time with Hank on the couch?
Let me try a command. Lay down, Hank. See, it worked.
Yeah,
no
nap. Yeah, look.
Yeah, go to sleep, Hank.
Good point.
On to more serious topics, one of the reasons that Jessica emailed me is that January is both Stalking Awareness Month and Human Trafficking Awareness Month. Let's touch on stalking Awareness Month first.
Right. So stalking is something that we see happen in a lot of domestic violence cases and also sexual assault cases, but mainly domestic violence cases. It is, I believe, a crime in all 50 states. What people don't realize is that once a person leaves their perpetrator, that's the most dangerous time in that relationship. As a survivor, I can tell you that when I left, and even really before I left, my ex-husband would stalk me, and it's very disconcerting to know that somebody is watching every move you make and will tell you things about what you're doing, like, oh, I saw a car in your driveway, what were you doing? It was at this time. I saw you at work today. Just subtle little threats.
Did you know you were being stalked while it was happening, or was it afterwards with your subtle threats you talked about when you realized, hey, he was sitting in his car across the street and I never saw him or something
right.
like that?
I actually knew, but that's, at that point in time I worked at the YMCA, so I had a lot of people around me who knew who he was. He was not the best person in the world, so I knew, but there are times that people don't know, but most of the time that's one of the things that the perpetrator likes is that power and control. It gives them power and control over that person, and they can make you react by saying different things. There was a case, and I don't know if it was here or if it was here, I mean Washington State, or if it was someplace else, but we know of a case where the perpetrator, who happened to be a man in this case, actually hardwired a cell phone to a car battery, and every time he knew that his ex was in the car, he would dial in, he'd turn the ringer off, dial in, and he would listen to the conversations that she was having, either like with her children or her best friend, or she would be on her Bluetooth talking to, you know, whoever, and he would repeat those conversations back to her. And really, that's another tactic, is not only is it scary, but it makes you feel like you're losing your mind too, to have somebody repeat back to you exactly what you said. And it wasn't necessarily that she was complaining about him, she was just talking in general. But he got the information that he needed and was able to do very scary things.
And I'm assuming social media has played an even larger role in this now that everybody is online everywhere. You can't really stay off that footprint, and that makes it easier, I'm assuming, for the stalker.
Oh yes, it does. And the phone itself. I mean, we all remember when, or at least some of us remember when there were just landlines, and you could choose not to answer your phone. And you could still choose not to answer your phone, but your landline was at home. It didn't come in your hip pocket. It didn't go everywhere that you went. And now that is something that we have to deal with. People can put spyware on your phone just as well as your computer. They can track your phone. Some people do that via either the wireless carrier or just in the phone itself. We do have a very tech-savvy young lady who works at our office that can help sometimes turn that off, but also, it's going to sound funny, but wrap your phone in aluminum foil. That'll work too. So
Never heard about that.
No, it'll work too. So
what's I don't want to say why people stalk, and I'm assuming the vast majority of this is men stalking female. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what's the be-all, end-all? If I stalk my ex-girlfriend or ex-wife, she'll come back to me? What's the purpose in it?
It's all, again, about power and control. And I know that there are instances of women who stalk their partners too. But a lot of times it's because they may not want you anymore, but they don't want anybody else to have you either. So, or they do want you to come back, or they're just going to make sure that you are scared so that you will do whatever they ask you to do. We talk in training sometimes about a woman getting really upset because there was a dozen roses left on their doorstep, and she was extremely agitated, called the police, and the police couldn't figure out why she would be so upset that there are flowers on their doorsteps. Well, one of the reasons is because her husband at that point had told her, one day, the day you get a dozen roses on your doorstep is the day I'm going to kill you. So, I mean, it's serious stuff, and I encourage people, if you think you're being stalked, I mean, please come and see us, but also write down what you know. I mean, be very factual about it, write down the date, write down the time, what happened, and you know, just kind of keep a log of it.
Can they be proactive in that, Jessica, I'm going to break up with my boyfriend, it's not going to work out, but I'm afraid it's not going to go very well and there may be some issues. Can you go in that direction at all?
We can a little bit. I mean, if there are instances of violence that have happened before, we can do something called a protection order. But we can also, if we can show the pattern of stalking, that helps us be able to get the order put in place also. Just being aware, knowing where you're at, taking different routes home, you know, knowing, because sometimes people get their families involved. The perpetrators will have friends that will, you know, stalk and stuff, or borrow their car, so it's not their car that you see. There's lots of different things that happen. So it's concerning, and it happens here. So unfortunately, it does.
So we're talking again. This is Stalking Awareness Month. How do people become more aware of stalking for people who don't have to deal with it as they're not being stalked?
Right.
How do they help?
I think one of the most important things, and I think we talk about this each time that I come on, is that you believe the person. When somebody comes up and says, I'm afraid this is happening to me, that you believe that person. You can also call us, and we will try to help too. If you feel like that person's in danger, in immediate danger, of course call 911 or the law enforcement agency near you. But it's really important that you can be there and you can just listen to the person and let them talk about it, and hopefully help to gather more resources. I mean, there's some great resources online, but you know, I'm going to advocate for you all to come to SAGE because that's what we do. But we are here to help. So if you're in a moment where you are unsure about what's going on, you can call our crisis line 24 hours a day.
And once this person, whoever it may be, ends up on the law enforcement radar, they remember.
Right.
They know.
Oh, yes.
Once they...
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And, you know, a protection order will help with that too. I mean, it's only a piece of paper, but knowing that the protection order has been served and filed, they do respond to that too. I mean, it kind of ranks a little bit higher. Not that they wouldn't respond anyway.
Human Trafficking Awareness Month. This is some pretty sobering things we're talking about. We'll close out with more Hank talk before the show's over. Human Trafficking Awareness Month, you don't really think about that as an issue here in little old Wenatchee Valley, but
it is.
It is.
Yeah. And we've had, I won't say that we've had like hundreds of people come in and this is their problem, but we've had several cases where people will come in and it can be, you know, the sex trafficking, that's one of the ways, or it can be labor trafficking too. And we see all ages, you know, it doesn't matter what sex you are, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, it can happen. And a lot of times we'll see people, especially if they bring them in from a different country, they will keep their papers, even if they came in legally. Or if they didn't come in legally, that's another way of they can control that person. Oh, I'm going to call the immigration and things like that on them. It happens to any, you know, it could happen to, if you're white, purple with pink polka dots, it doesn't matter the color of your skin either. But yes, we do see that. And it even comes in forms of, like, this sounds like an antiquated thing, but like mail order brides. It still happens. We had somebody who came through who, that's what happened. He basically ordered her and, you know, married her, and she was supposed to do all the work, all the stuff, you know, and it was just not a good thing for her. And luckily we got her out and we got her help. So it does happen in Wenatchee Valley. It does happen all up and down. It's a big thing in Washington State, especially over on the west side.
Right.
So
yeah, when I think of human trafficking, the first thing, two things I think of is sex and extortion. And that's essentially what that is.
Right.
You know, it's...
Right. And sometimes people don't know what to think of it, especially the younger, like teenage girls who, and boys that it happens to, they see it as somebody older usually, that it's their boyfriend and like they're going to take care of them. They might not have a happy home. They might be upset because of, you know, mom and dad imposed curfew or something like that. And that's how they get involved in this. And then,
they're easily manipulated.
Right. And then once you're in, it's really hard to get out. So, and then after you get out, you have to deal with all the stuff that happened while you were in. So it's, I mean, stalking, human trafficking, I get to talk about all the fun stuff, you know.
Well, let's close on a much cooler note. You brought a goodie bag with you, the Hank bag or whatever you want to call it, First of all, I get me a little fuzzy Hank. This will be on my show on any number of occasions, so it's so cute. Apparently, Hank's not a big fan of his little...
Oh, no, he would like to chew on them, I think.
Yeah, I understand completely. So thank you for the little, little Hank doll. That's cute. What else we got?
So, well, of course, you've seen this before. Yeah, we've got his trading card. And then we have a book that is called All About Hank that has all the stories, or not the stories, but all the pictures of Hank that we've had so far. Of course, a little Hank, and then a blanket. And so kids who come in, adults too if they need them, but kids who come in and especially victims that we do forensic interviews with, they get to go home with Hank kit. We call them Hank Compassion Kits. So that's fun. We put all that together with some help from some of our grants and other donations that we got. And they're pretty popular. We gave out the first couple last week and people were really excited to see it. We got the plush Hanks first, and so those have been going around. But yes, that's one of the good things. I mean, I will come on anytime and talk about Hank all day long because of the stuff that he does. He just, I mean, right now he looks pretty mellow and content, but he does a lot of good work. And you can tell after we've been in an interview that he needs some time to be without his vest, to play, to just be a
Hank
dog.
Is still a dog. Yep.
Right, just be a dog. So.
Circle this on your calendar, Saturday, March 9th. Behind the Mask. It's the 7th annual fundraiser for SAGE. Explain this, please.
So our 7th annual Enchanted Evening, March 9th, it will be at the Convention Center. New location this year. We're growing, so that's a good thing. But it's our biggest fundraiser of the year. It's lots of fun. We have a silent auction, a live auction. We have a dessert dash. Hank will be there, at least for part of it. And I think one of the live auction items will be win a date with Hank. So
I'll bid on that.
He might not be too impressed with that. You can see right there, but yeah, we will do meet and greets and we'll do something fun with Hank. So, but it's a lot of fun. We do talk about some sobering stuff, but really, we only do that for a very short time, and then the rest of it, it's all about having fun and raising money for a good cause to help us keep our doors open and our services free and confidential. So that's something very important to us to make sure that that happens.
And we'll talk about this more as we get closer and closer to Saturday, March 9th. Just put it on your calendar now. We'll have Jessica back in one more time. Let's close out while we have you here. Again, the work that SAGE does, they're out there to help you. Don't hesitate to call the crisis line. Never closes.
Right.
Never. 24
hours a day. It's answered by somebody local. We have volunteers and staff on shift, I guess. And the number is 509-663-7446. It's the same number as our office number. It's actually the same number we've had for forever. So call that number and we will get you, we will help you. That's our job. We will help.
It's as simple as that. There is always help. All you have to do is pick up the telephone. It's as simple as that. Hank, it's good to see you. Lay down, Hank.
Yeah.
See, he's doing my deal.
Yeah.
Jessica, have fun. We'll see you next week, okay? Or not next week, next month. We'll have you in February, okay?
Thank you.
I mean, I love you, but next week might be a little too soon.
Right, I know. No, I get it.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley with Jessica and Hank. I'll be right back. There's no substitute for the power of cable TV advertising. With Solion Cable TV Advertising, you can reach your target audience right here in North Central Washington. We understand their viewing habits and can precisely target your customers on great cable networks like these. Call Solion Broadcasting today and let us show you how to put your business message right in front of thousands of prospects at a very affordable price. Solion Broadcasting, 509-888-2020.
Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Club Crow is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow Saturday nights. We have live bands to rock the night away. Club Crow is bringing comedy to Kashmir. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming dates. Live jam session first Sunday of every month. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Kashmir, the coolest place in town.
Hey everyone, Fletcher and Amy Ellington here from Live It Up. In the investment world, ROI stands for Return on Investment. Well, how does better health, better wealth, and better relationships sound for ROI? Join us every week right here on NCW Life and learn how to invest in the most important asset, you.
We're going to answer your questions and provide some weekly inspiration so you can create a life that you love. Join us on Live It Up.
And we'll come back now. We're live here from Studio 7 in downtown Wenatchee. I am Dan Kuntz on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We're going to end this program where we began, which is your weather forecast, and it's the first real significant weather event of the winter. We've had a little bit of snow here and a little bit of snow there and some freezing rain at times. Nothing's really stuck around. As all things considered, it's been a very mild and dry winter. That's going to change today. We have a winter weather advisory. It begins at 9 o'clock this morning, just about an hour from now. It's going to go through noon Wednesday. What can we expect here in the Wenatchee Valley? Snow. I kid you not. We are going to get some snow. Let's show you a graphic of the water vapor that's heading our way. There's a low pressure ridge, low pressure system that's very tightly wound. It's not very big, but it's very tight, and it's spinning at a pretty good rapid rate, and it's feeding this warm, moist air. It's going to collide with the cold air over the Pacific Northwest and North Central Washington. It's going to bring us some snow from about 10 o'clock this morning till about 10 o'clock this evening, with the heaviest snowfall expected in the noon and 1 o'clock hours. How much snow are we going to get? At least a couple of inches. That's what it's looking like. At least a couple of inches. Take a look at where you live. We could get upwards now of about 5 inches now, they tell us. That graphic was sent to us yesterday afternoon, so they've changed things around a little bit. So average it out, maybe 3 inches, as much as 5, as little as 2, but we are going to get some snow accumulation today in the Wenatchee Valley. And again, the heaviest snow from 10 o'clock this morning till 10 o'clock this afternoon. So during the daylight hours, 1 to 3 inches of snow is in the forecast, and an additional 1 to 2 inches of snow is expected tonight. And then the winter weather advisory will expire at noon tomorrow. We're going to have a rain-snow kind of a mix tomorrow morning, and then it's going to switch over to all rain in the afternoon. So we will see some snow melt on Wednesday, but we have to deal with what's going to be coming down now and a little bit later on today. The afternoon commute could get a little tricky. Let's throw the graphic up one more time for your weather forecast from the National Weather Service to let you an idea of what we're looking at again. I guess we can't end the show yet, Megan. Again, anywhere from at least 2 inches of snow up to about 5 inches of snow. And this is for the Wenatchee Valley we're talking about. Other locations, Leavenworth Plain and up in the Methow Valley, you're going to get more snow than us here in the Wenatchee Valley. Out in the Columbia Basin, you're not expecting a great deal of snow, but there is maybe some freezing rain. May see a light glaze of ice out in the Columbia Basin in the Quincy, Moses Lake, Ephrata area. Heads up on that. You're not going to get a lot of snow, but you could get some freezing rain. High today of 34, a little bit of snow tonight. Overnight low around 29. Snow likely on Wednesday morning, switches over to rain. High of 38. Then we calm down with not a lot going on. In fact, partly cloudy and mild conditions on Friday, and then quite a bit of sunshine on Saturday. Again, at least 2, upwards of 5 inches of snow expected today in the Wenatchee Valley. As far as the mountain passes are concerned, we do have one advisory that's up and running, and that is Stevens Pass. Snow quality is looking fine. There are no advisories or restrictions, but it's very windy on I-90, and it's blowing the snow around, and if you're driving a high-profile rig, you're going to get buffered with those strong gusty winds, and there's blowing snow, but the roadway itself is okay. There's Stevens Pass. There's a traction tire advisory on US 2 Stevens Pass. Roadway is mostly bare with some slush and ice in places. And on Blewett Pass, no advisories, no restrictions. The roadway is mostly bare and dry. They're expecting anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of snow in the mountain passes today, and then a couple of inches tonight, and a couple of inches Wednesday, and a couple of inches Wednesday night, and a couple of inches on Thursday. My guest tomorrow, the director of Witness for the Prosecution, the classic Agatha Christie play. It's Music Theater of Wenatchee's winter play. It's coming up this weekend. Matthew Pippin, the director, will be my guest tomorrow. Until then, take care and bye-bye.